Perfect. Welcome back to another edition of the ONFORM podcast, baby. We are back again. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode. Very excited to chat with you all today. Um, Very excited for the run of games that Liverpool have coming in the next handful of weeks. And today we're going to be talking about those things. Today we're going to talk a little bit about where we can kind of see Liverpool at, where we're going to see them in the mix of all of these things. I think it's a lot more positive than we believe, right? I think there's probably going to be a couple games that will hold us up. I think there's definitely going to be some games that we may lose, and that's totally normal. Dan, what's going on, man? Of course. Thank you for popping in here. We'll see some more people streaming here in a few moments, but appreciate you a big time, Dan, for supporting the channel from the very beginning, and then of course starting your own content channel as well. If you haven't, please check out Dan Wood's stuff. He is an awesome Liverpool supporter on the grow, just like we are. So, but of course, like we typically do, we're going to talk about which teams that are on form this week and which teams that are out of form this week. We're going to talk also about what the run-in of games is going to look like over the next 7-8 games for Liverpool. This is probably the most intense schedule that any of our competitors or our rivals have. We probably have the toughest run-in in terms of European fixtures, in terms of people facing other teams than the league. But I think we get results out of these games. I don't know about you, but I might just be overtly positive and all that extra stuff. We'll talk about that today in our middle segment. And then, of course, we are going to talk about off press, the segment where we talk about some of the things that we are seeing in the news, whether they're legit or not, what we think about them, all of those things. And, of course, give predictions of what the results we think are going to be at the end of the podcast. But again, thank you guys for tuning in to the ONFORM podcast. We do this live every single Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. British time, to accommodate everybody. But this one should be a good one. Appreciate you all for tapping into this one. So let's jump right in. This week, we're going to talk about who's on form. And of course, if you love Liverpool content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And speaking of Liverpool, who's on form again this week for I feel like the 5th, 6th week in a row is Liverpool FC, right? Regardless of whether the win is pretty or if it's sloppy or whatever it might be or not, Liverpool got the result. That's honestly what you really need to know, is that Liverpool got the result. Liverpool did everything that they possibly could to get a solid result out of a tricky fixture. Yes, Wolves are at the bottom of the table, but Wolves is also still a good team. And I think we'll see Wolves stave off the drop, I think, in my personal opinion, but we will see what ends up happening with Wolves. And Alejandro, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. 9 p.m. in South Africa. Yes, sir, PG. Yes, sir. I know we have a lot of South African supporters tuning in. Appreciate all of you guys. Again, for anybody who is new here, make sure you guys put where you are watching from if you're newly subscribed. This thing is going worldwide. We got people all around the world tuning into this thing, so it's really cool. But I think we're still on form. I still think we are the best performing team in England right now. And like what Dan just said, it was an ugly win, but even Slot said Wolves are a better team than they seem. And it's so true. And I think we'll see that. And this kid, Forbes, I think his name is Carlos Forbes. I didn't get to bring him up in my breakdown video. Carlos Forbes is going to be a problem for the Premier League. If he gets his feet underneath him and he puts everything together like what he kind of was showing flashes of against us, he's going to be an issue in the Premier League. They went out and got another Pedro Neto, is what it seems like. He's a good kid. I think he's on loan right now from a Dutch team, believe it or not. So I'm very interested to see how his season kind of unfolds and seeing how he develops. But I think Liverpool are in that top spot. Ugly win, but a win well deserved. I would rather win ugly and go top of the table versus win pretty and sit fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever it might be, right? Or like for like Chelsea's case, sit fourth and have, keep destroying teams. I'd rather get results than get pretty wins. And I love the fact that Arne Slot, he believes in that school of thought as well. Does he play pretty football? Absolutely. We know that Arne Slot is all about keeping possession. He's all about passing sequences. He's all about making sure we string together 4 or 5 passes before it gets into the back of the net. But he also knows that not every game is going to allot that. Not every game, not every side is going to allow us to play fluid football, right? Some teams are going to sit in a low block. Some teams are going to be aggressive and press really high and not allow that ball to get in the midfield in the midfield to Maka and Ryan Gravenberch and whoever it might be, right? Sometimes we're going to have to dig out results. Sometimes you're going to have to get ugly. I mean, you look at any other team or any other profession, right? Any other profession, whether it's basketball, whether it's football. I mean, I look at the Denver Nuggets, not an amazingly exciting team, right? But they get it done, and they've got it done, I believe, 2 times now, right? If you watch basketball, and we'll get off the basketball topic in a second, but I think it's just so relevant. Like Nikola Jovic, the Joker, right? He doesn't have a flashy game, even though it can look pretty at times. He doesn't have a flashy game. He's not dunking on people. He's not draining threes from 30 feet out like Steph Curry, or doing no look, and it's not making it a top 10, sports center in the morning. But it's getting him the championship. And I think of teams like that can win ugly and consistently win regardless of how pretty it is. A lot of those times those teams, they win it all. And it's kind of like the Patriots too, right? I remember when the Patriots were super dominant in the NFL, where the Patriots were hated. I hated the Patriots growing up because they just won every time. And every time they went to the Super Bowl, it wasn't entertaining. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a high scoring game. But you know what? They went back to back to back to back to back to back to back. And when I see games like that, where you're not playing at your best, you're not playing your best football, and you still get the result, I think, well, imagine when you are playing your best football. Well, imagine when you are free flowing and scoring goals at will, what that's going to look like. You're still beating good teams, and Wolves are a good team. They may be bottom of the table, but they are a good team. Let's not get it twisted. I think they will start putting results together. They had a tough run in, one of the toughest starts to the Premier League, right? And I think they will put it together, and I think they will stave off the drop. I think they have a little bit too much talent to go down. But when you get results against teams, and Wolves didn't sit back, and O'Neal is a great manager as well, by the way. Wolves didn't sit back. They came after us. They pressed high. They tried to make opportunities, right? At sometimes they were kind of tormenting us for like the first 20 minutes in the game. We were like getting terrorized by Wolves for a little bit. But when you can get results against tough teams like that, what more can you ask for from a manager, right? So, and the ability, I think, for Arne Slot to be able to adapt when his team is maybe not performing the way that he wants them to perform, maybe not at the level that they need to be. His ability to adapt on the fly, not needing to wait for halftime. Usually the adaptation, I've been noticing, like usually he'll make tweaks and changes on the fly mid-game after 20 to 25 minutes if things aren't going the way that he wants it to go. And he makes the adjustments, and the team immediately starts playing better. What I've noticed is that he'll drop Maka in a little bit deeper into the midfield to start picking the ball up to create more space for Ryan. And that's like the past like 3 or 4 games when we've had like terrible starts or like rocky starts, he's been doing that. And I think Maka has been an unsung hero of this team. Alexis McAllister has been an unsung hero of his team and has had a phenomenal start to the season. I think I said this last time. When you guys get a chance, just pay attention to Maka in tomorrow's game. If he plays against Bologna tomorrow, pay attention to him. Midfielders can't even get close to this man. And if they do, they're fouling him. And if they do, he's getting beat up, right? So it's just like, I think and this may be a little bit crazy. I think Alexis McAllister is one of the best and maybe the best number 8 in the Premier League right now, in my personal opinion. And if you guys have somebody else, please let me know. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but I think he's the best number 8 in the Premier League right now. And I think Ryan Gravenberch is the best 6 in the Premier League right now. And I've been saying that for a couple weeks now. You guys know that. You guys know that. So that's nothing new. And then Nick here. I don't understand why people think that game was close. They created nothing by themselves. They only got was from a mistake. I get that. I totally get that. The only goal that they got was from a mistake. I get that, but watching the game as a whole, they actually kept a lot of possession and they looked dangerous. And I think what Wolves is missing is that they're missing the finishing product, the end product, right? If that's any other team that's on form, we play Chelsea that day, they may put 3 or 4 past us. And that's why I say Wolves has the opportunity to put it back together, right? And to get it together. I think I don't know. I see a team there. But as for Mack and Gravenberch, I think they're the best duo in the Premier League right now. In terms of like an 8 and a 6, I think they're the best duo in the Premier League right now. I might be saying a little bit crazy stuff, but that's just my opinion. There isn't very many teams that can control the midfield the way that Liverpool has been able to control the midfield with those two in there. And they're smart. That's the thing that I love about Ryan and Maka. They're really intelligent footballers, and they're able to make these adjustments and execute what the manager is asking them, right? Because there's a difference between being a great manager and then having the personnel that can do what you're asking them to do. And you have to give a little bit more credit to Maka and Ryan in there being able to essentially make Arne Slot's job much, much easier by being smart footballers who can understand strategy, who can understand and play different types of football. Like, keep it into consideration. Maka was playing Jurgen Klopp style of football and playing it really well last season, right? And didn't even play as his best position, which he believes is a number 10, by the way. Played as a 6 and had some of the most standout performances that we've seen in midfielders. Then comes into Arne Slot's side and acts like he's been playing in that system for forever again. I love it, bro. I love it. And then Nick, I actually don't mind them keeping useless possession, just passing it back and forth. They were home after all. We knew they'd play as hard as possible. They're desperate for points. True. Good point. Very good point. Which makes them a dangerous team, right? Which makes them a dangerous team. But I think the point that Nick is trying to make is that we're a good side. We're a good side. And I think some of these bumps in the road, and which I agree totally, Nick, with that. Some of these bumps in the road are a little overblown, right? Especially that Forest at home game that we mainly dominated. And then there's Wolves game, which really came off of a mistake. The only goal that they scored came off a mistake. On top of that, we've conceded 1 true goal all season long. That's kind of crazy if you really think about it. And I saw that, and we'll talk about this in a second, what Gary Neville's saying about our title chances. But I did want to bring up Liverpool as an on-form team because we got to move into some of these other teams and what they mean to us, especially because we are going to be facing some of these other teams that are in form within these next couple weeks, right? So the other in-form team that we have is Chelsea. Cole Palmer, and Chelsea. They are, man, they're a dangerous team. I'll be very, very honest there. They're a dangerous team. I didn't think they'd be able to put it together so quickly and so fluidly under their new manager, but they're free flowing. It reminds me a little bit of when Jurgen Klopp kind of started getting first started at Liverpool, when we didn't have like the best defense in the world. This is before VVD jumped in, right? What we would do was we'd just outscore you. Like, you're going to score 2, we'll score 4. You want to score 3, then we're going to score 6. I remember this like super, super vividly when it was Coutinho and Firmino and Mane and Salah, and they were the Fab Four, right? The Fab Four, and they were just, you couldn't stop us. You couldn't stop us, but we also couldn't stop them. So, like, a lot of the games, if that front four wasn't fit and firing, a lot of the times we would lose those games or we wouldn't get the results that we need. So I'm hoping that Chelsea is in a similar vein, right? Where if we can control the game and we can slow that down with Chelsea, we can slow down their attack because they look really, really dangerous. So, and then Dan said, that game we have with them after the break worries me because Liverpool play sluggish after international breaks. It's true. And then Nick, yep, we've been nice to watch. There will be stumbling blocks at some point, though, definitely. I'll try not to be too disappointed. Same here. I'm trying to be as positive as I possibly can because I see so many like Liverpool fan channels, outlets, Twitters, whatever it might be. They're just like, people are like waiting for it to all fall down. It's like, I made this comment the other day. It's like that, like a lot of people treat Liverpool like that one ex that you have that you like low key still love, but you let her go. So like you want her to do well because you just love her as a person, and like she'll always be your first love. But you also don't want to see her do well because you wish you had her. I feel like that's how like some Liverpool supporters are. That's just like, oh yeah, I'm happy we're top of the league, but don't get too excited. You know what I mean? So, and I try not to be that Liverpool supporter for sure. But it's true, Dan. People are scared to believe for sure. And then Dave Jones, Chelsea are leaking goals. And that's why I liken them to the Liverpool team before we got VVD, is that we were that side. Extremely exciting, blowing teams away on our day, right? Coutinho smashing in goals, Firmino smashing in goals, Salah going crazy, Mane going crazy. But we couldn't keep a clean sheet to save our lives. And that was when we had Loris Karius, right, as our goalkeeper. We made it all the way to a Champions League final with that team, right? Which was a great team. But it missed that backbone. It missed Allison. It missed VVD, right? And Coutinho leaving opened that door up. So if they can get some solid defensive options in there in Chelsea, and I don't even freaking know because I feel like they bought, how many goalkeepers has Chelsea bought? They bought like 5 goalkeepers or something like that, and a ton of center backs, and they still can't kind of get their defense together. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a fun game. This Chelsea game is going to be a fun game. I feel like it is. It's going to be high scoring. Believe that. We will get chances. And I think maybe if Darwin Núñez is available, Darwin Núñez has to start that game so he can create as much chaos as he possibly can on that back line. And it's just going to be mayhem ball. I feel like if Slot doesn't find a way to control the ball, control the game early, slow down their pace, stifle their attack with possession, right? And just keep Cole Palmer off of the ball as much as we possibly can, right? But they are on form this week. And then 9 goalkeepers for Chelsea. That's actually kind of crazy and inappropriate a little bit. But that's beside the point, right? Chelsea are on form this week. You can't hold them on that. And specifically Cole Palmer, out of this world. One of the best players in the Premier League right now. I don't think he's the best. I'll reserve that spot still for Mo Salah. And I know Mo Salah won't get a whole ton of love, but I still think Mo Salah is the best player in the league. And then Dave said they have 200 players out on loan right now. I do not even doubt that, bro. I do not even doubt that. I feel like they do. I remember they bought Andres, like a midfielder, and he was actually pretty good. And I think he's still out on loan. They got a bunch of young Brazilians out on loan. It's a weird situation. But somehow that new manager is putting it together. He's figuring out a way to get this young team, cocky team, a bunch of problems internally to perform on the pitch, and that's all that matters. I think that Jadon Sancho buy was really smart too because he's been a really good asset coming off the bench, and also being kind of a little bit of a veteran presence. And I've talked about this story a little bit before. I actually went to a preseason Man United game with my mom because she's a massive Man United fan. And Ten Hag, it was against Dortmund. Ten Hag was there. All the players were there. Nobody stopped to sign autographs. Not a single Man United fan. And they were so freaking, a Man United player, sorry. And they were acting so entitled. I mean, Mount, Rashford, I can't even, Martinez. So entitled. The only players that stopped to sign autographs, and this was shameful, really, was Jadon Sancho. It was Jadon Sancho and it was Victor Lindelof. All the other players completely ignored their support. Completely ignored their support. And I'm starting to think maybe it's not Sancho who was the problem. Maybe it was Ten Hag or whatever the hell's going on in that dressing room, which is obviously still rearing its head. And we will talk about that in a second. We will talk about that in a second of the out of form teams. And then Nick said, is Robbo up to form to take on Palmer yet? I think Robbo looked good in that last game. I think Robbo looked really good in that last game, actually. So I'm actually looking forward to that battle. And if anybody can stop Cole Palmer, it's Robbo. If any left back can stop Cole Palmer right now, it's Robbo and maybe Ryan Aït-Nouri last week. He did really good too against Mo Salah, who is somebody that I feel like should be on our list. I didn't believe in this kid. I'm gonna be honest. I was one of those Aït-Nouri haters. I'm a believer now after last week. And then Dan Wood, my mate is a United fan. He tells me it's a regular occurrence for them players. They act bigger than the club. It's true. I saw it firsthand. I couldn't even believe it. Because I was the seats that I got for my mom, this was for her birthday, was like they were like pitch side seats. And you could literally, like, as the players were walking out, you could literally touch them, right? And only ones that stopped was Victor Lindelof and Jadon Sancho. It's an absolute shame and disgusting, actually. And the one that had the most attitude, if you can even guess, I know you probably can guess it, was Bruno Fernandes. It was Bruno Fernandes and then Marcus Rashford. Completely, there was a little kid with a sign up like, Rashford, I'm your biggest fan. Can I have your shirt? Completely ignored the kid. So unfortunate stuff. But to give you a sneak peek, they are the out of form team this week. The third team that is on form this week is Fulham, right? They are quietly putting together a solid season. Weirdly enough, they're quietly putting together a really solid season. So I don't know where they came from. I don't know why no one has really been paying attention, but they're in sixth place and they've only lost one time. And they're doing really well to just get results, man. We'll see if they're able to stick it out. But this week, they are part of the on form teams. Very interesting. I honestly haven't even been paying attention to Fulham at all, and they just kind of popped up. So very good stuff. And then David said, Man United have only had 2 decent managers in their entire history, so this run is normal for them. That's true. And what's crazy is I saw a Patrice Evra interview that said that Cristiano actually wanted to come back to Madrid as his initial, or come back to United as his initial Man United, as his initial Real Madrid contract was running out. And he was like 99% locked in, like, I'm coming back to United. We're going to win some Champions leagues. I'm coming back home. Because it's pretty well noted that Cristiano has always seen Man United as his home. He's always seen Fergie as his dad. And he wanted to come back home. And Fergie was like, these people think I'm retiring. I'm not retiring anytime soon. I got Bale to come to agree. And I got Cristiano to agree. All I need is backing from the board. And I guess the Glazers didn't back him. So he decided to retire, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how true that story is. I don't know how, if Patrice Evra is just blowing smoke and chatting shit. I do not know. But if that is the truth, that's actually kind of crazy, which might be the case of why Jurgen Klopp decided to leave early, right? We don't know what happened behind the scenes with the Bellingham deals and the Chouameni deals and all these extra things as to, who was promised and not given, and if deals were all. We won't know these things for like another 5, 6, 7 years and stuff like that. If that was a similar case with Jurgen Klopp, of he was promised certain things and didn't get it and was like, you know what, forget it. Let's just retire. I'm done with football. Right. So very interesting stuff that's coming out about Man United and some of the backroom things. But special shout out to Newcastle and Arsenal. They don't make my on form teams mainly because Arsenal only got a result because the referee decided to extend the match like an additional 15 minutes. Because I think they would have dropped points this week if it was just regular added time and not 10 minutes of added time. But it's kind of like, oh, we play until Arsenal get a result. But whatever. They make the special shout out category. And the Newcastle, another team that's been quietly just putting together good results, solid, only have lost one time, if I'm not mistaken, this season. And got a huge result at Man City. Got a huge result at Man City, being able to take points off of them. I think they're going to be a force. I predicted them being able to get into that Europa League area. I don't think they're good enough to make Champions League again this season. I do think Aston Villa will be in that mix of that whole thing. Aston Villa is one of those teams that I think is a dark horse in this whole thing. And the reason why they're not on form this week is because they drew at Ipswich when they should be winning those types of games. But I think Aston Villa is a dark horse. I think they will make top four. But Newcastle will be right there. I think Tottenham will be right there as well. So as the out of form teams, right? Out of form teams this week, we're looking at City. Damn, not City. City dropped points, baby, which puts us top of the table, as we all know in the here. Top of the table, top of the league. What more can you ask for? Because City are starting to unravel a little bit, I feel like. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. If there is any time for Liverpool to go on a run, to come after this title, it's right now. Man City are weak. They never looked, and I said this in a previous podcast. They were already saying, if we don't win it, we're just tired. That was the excuse. Remember when I said that? If we don't win it, we're just tired of winning it. That's why we're not going to win it. And I said, if that's going to be your excuse, Liverpool will gladly take this title from you. We will gladly receive the title if that's going to be your excuse, right? And I like it. I'll take it. They're already dropping points against tough teams. Rodri has turned out to be the most important player that they've had and that they have right now, even more important than Kevin De Bruyne, it seems, who has also, I think, picked up a knock. The team is weak, and they have just a bunch of like older veteran players that I don't even know if they even have the legs for a season this long, right? This is a really, really long season that they're going to have in the Champions League and every competition that's available right now. They're in, right? And they have two of their most important midfielders out. This is the time to pounce. And City dropping points immediately after dropping points to Arsenal is huge. It's huge for Liverpool. And then Dave said the Rodri effect. That's right. And then Alexander, next 6 games are massive for the Reds. They are, and I'm going to be going over that in just a second. And then Dan Wood said, watch City sign Zubimendi now that Rodri is out. I 100% wholeheartedly believe, I have this feeling that Zubimendi will end up in a Man City shirt. And I said that at the end of the last podcast episode. Zubimendi will end up in a Man City shirt. I have a strange feeling, because I don't think we're going to go back in for him. I think we will go for a DM that is younger and can be a little bit of an understudy and a rotation piece for Ryan Gravenberch. I think Zubimendi is more of a starter type of midfielder who would take minutes away from Ryan versus complement Ryan, give him rest in those. And I think Zubimendi goes to Man City. I think we look at someone else that's a little bit under the radar, and we'll talk about that in the off-press segment. There's one guy that I brought up in a post that I really like, Merlin Rowe, who I think would be an excellent deputy for all 3 positions, and I can see that going pretty far. Very Moneyball-esque type of signing, but I have a strong feeling that the mountains aren't going to be looking as nice anymore for Zubimendi in January, especially with his team really not in a good way in the league right now. I think he'll be looking for a way out with the connection with Pep Guardiola, him also being Spanish, Zubimendi, being close with Rodri. It just makes so much sense for them to go after him. So we'll see what happens there. Second team that's out of form this week is Manchester United, as you probably guessed. We talked already a lot about these fools. I'm wondering when they will finally pull the plug on the Ten Hag experiment. For our sake, let's hope he stays for a long, long time. So we can keep 5-0 them, 7-0, 3-0. Let's keep Ten Hag, please. I pray that Ten Hag sticks around for as long as he possibly can so that we can still keep destroying them at United. I think Mo Salah has like more goals scored at Old Trafford than like a majority of their team right now. And I think that's like a hilarious statistic. I don't know what's going on with Man United. It is an absolute shit show at that club. And I low-key feel bad for the supporters, even though like Man United is a total rival of our club. If that was our club and this bullshit was going on, dude, I don't even know. Especially with a club with this much history. And I love the rivalry. I love the United Liverpool rivalry. And to be able to see Man United struggle the way that they are, it's hilarious, but it's low-key sad at the same time. But who do you go for as a manager? Do you do you gamble and get Ruud van Nistelrooy in there, who's essentially part of this staff that's causing these issues, right? Do you go back to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who went on that terrible run to even get fired? Who do you even go to, right? But stand up. What's up, brother? I'm late to the party, and Ten Hag has outstayed his welcome for sure. He's not outstayed his welcome on Merseyside, though. Let's keep him as long as we can, bruh. I don't want Man United to be good anymore, but I kind of do at the same time. It's a really weird feeling. So we'll see what happens with them. And then it'll cost them $17.5 million to sack Ten Hag. That's why they're keeping him. Honestly, they've spent almost $1 billion in players. What's another 17.5 mil? They spent 150, 200 million this summer on new players, right? With De Ligt coming in, Mazraoui coming in, Ugarte coming in, all these players that they brought in. What's the extra 17.5? Pay the release, bro. In Ten Hag we trust, baby. Ten Hag in Ten Hag we trust, baby. But yeah, it's very weird. I don't know what their owner's plan is on that for their club, but we'll see what happens with Man United. I just love seeing United Trey. If you guys know who United Trey is on Twitter, I just love seeing him suffer, bro. It's actually kind of funny. No, but he's a good dude, seriously. But Aston Villa is a kind of out of form team for me this week. They're kind of out of form because I think they should have beat Ipswich. I think they should have kept it going. John Duran is playing some of the best football he's 20 years old, so and then David Jones. They really like a Gareth Southgate over at Old Trafford. Oh, God. Southgate in. It's just going to be another Ten Hag type of thing. If they were smart, they would go after Julian Nagelsmann. If they're smart. They need a young manager that's progressive, that's going to play attacking football, and that's going to get the fans behind him with the style of play. I don't even know what Gareth Southgate's style of play is. I'm going to be really honest. I have no idea. I don't know what his footballing philosophy is. What is Gareth Southgate's footballing philosophy? Can somebody tell me? Right. But their revenue has been hit this season and no Champions League next season, most likely, right? 17.5 will make a dent. That's a good point. But you have to say that their owners are probably, they got money, bro. It's a massive conglomerate. And what they'll do, they'll just inject more money into the team. I see another 5-6 players getting brought into the team once the new manager comes in. Another 100 million, 200 million, 300 million spent on new players. But his philosophy is pick up a fat wage. True. The fact that he didn't play Cole Palmer, Anthony Gordon, or Trent Alexander-Arnold in right back for the Euros, you guys probably would have a Euro. I'm not even joking. The England team was so much better than all of the other teams on paper. I just don't understand how England did not pull out that Euro over Spain. I do not get it. I don't get it. 3-5-2 when he was a Middlesbrough manager, I think. Bruh, I remember he was the Middlesbrough manager. That was like when I first started watching football. Is when Gareth Southgate last coached domestic football. It's kind of funny, but we'll see what ends up happening there. But I did want to talk about some of the results this week, and then we'll wrap up on off press and some predictions or some of the results coming up. We got a tumultuous. I don't know how to say that word, but a crazy run of games. We got Bologna tomorrow. I think we get a result at Bologna. I think we probably cruise past this team. I think we'll probably go strong. Of course, we'll go strong. It's Champions League, and I expect a Mo Salah masterclass out of that game, in my personal opinion. Then right after that, we got Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace. They had a little bit of a resurgence this season, a little bit of resurgence lately, but I think Crystal Palace is going to be one of those teams that go down. They pulled out a draw and they lost their last game. I'm seeing Crystal Palace. I think tumultuous. You got to do that phonetically for me, bruh. Imagine for a moment next year, Klopp is England manager. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I thought he was going to be the United States manager, and then we got Pochettino, and I'm pretty sure you guys do not care about that at all, so we won't cover that on the channel. But yeah, I think that's good for American football. I think Klopp as the England manager would be good for English football. But I hear there's like a narrative that like the England manager can't not be English, right? I know Sven-Goran Eriksson was the manager for a little bit. And then Arsenal 2-0 PSG. Is that true? Is that true, chat? Is Arsenal up 2-0 against PSG? Damn, they are. 30 minutes in. Havertz and Bukayo Saka. Yep. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I absolutely hate Arsenal. But anyway, I'm glad that they're doing well in the Champions League. And PSG obviously still isn't, the same PSG from before. And losing a generational player is not great. But I think Crystal Palace will be one of those teams. Fabio Capello, you're right. Fabio Capello. I remember that. PSG do stink. But Crystal Palace, I think, will be one of those teams that go down. And I think we should get a result at Crystal Palace. They're probably going to come in, low block us. They're losing a lot of their talented players. I feel really bad for Adam Wharton because he's in a tough team. Not a great team, and it's his stats are struggling because of it. But I still think he's a good player that I think we should maybe look at in January, honestly, especially if Crystal Palace keep losing the way that they are. I can't imagine him not looking for a way out. Him and Eberechi Eze. I like Eze a lot too. Then after the international break, we got Chelsea. We talked about that game a little bit and what we need to do. Stifle them. We got to slow the game down. We can't make it into a shootout. So, as long as we keep that going. And then Lee Carsley is Irish, right? The current England boss. True. And he looks good. He might keep the job. If he keeps getting results, right? Shit, we'll hear about this nonstop now. Bloody Arsenal fans. That is so true, bro. Elise is showing his class at Bayern. Massive loss for them. 100% Fidel. I thought that we were going to get Olise. I thought he would have been a perfect Mo Salah replacement. Michael Olise. I thought he would have been the perfect Mo Salah replacement, and we never even looked his way. It seemed like we never even looked his way, and now he's just absolutely balling out. I know they said that it feels like they got $100 million player for like $60 million, which was a crazy deal that they got him for. And I believe that 100%. Olise is a bad boy, bro. And now he celebrates goals all of a sudden. Now he's a team player and he celebrates goals. So I found that interesting. And then the next run up on October 23rd, we got RB Leipzig, who is doing well in their league as well. I believe they're in third or fourth right now. That one's a toss up for me because I feel like Leipzig is one of those teams that on their day they can beat anybody, right? Especially with the talent they continuously pump through their team. We'll see. That could be one that trip us up. And then after that, October 27th, we have Arsenal. I think we beat Arsenal. And I said this in a comment the other day. I think we beat Arsenal. If they try to come and run a low block against us, are we at home in that match? No, we're away. If they run a low block at home, I think we beat them. I think the type of football that Arne Slot plays versus the type of football that Mikel Arteta plays, I think we beat them. Am I crazy to say that? I think Liverpool can beat Arsenal right now. Right now, I think they can beat Arsenal because you know what? The style of play that they play, they play that low block. They play very defensive, very conservative, and then they try to steal points through set pieces and corners when they play tough teams, when they play top teams like ourselves, like Man City. That ain't happening with VVD and Konate. If VVD and Konate are fit for that game, that ain't happening. Saliba ain't snatching a header. Gabriel ain't snatching a header from us. That ain't happening. Not against Konate, who has the best aerial duel rate in the Premier League, best aerial success rate in the Premier League, right? That ain't happening against us. And I think we run that defense into the ground. I think Salah torments that. I feel like Salah takes Calafiori to school, in my personal opinion. You try to play that inverted role and venture forward against Mo Salah, he will eat you for breakfast. And I think with the way that Gakpo and the way that Lucho are playing, I think they cook Ben White. That 1v1 against Ben White is going to be easy. And then Saliba and Gabriel are going to have a phenomenal game. Because I think we take their inverted center backs out of the game because they're not athletic enough, they're not fast enough. And I think their only path to victory that they get from us is a Bukayo Saka fast break. We make a mistake defensively or something like that. But if they're trying to snatch headers and set pieces away from us, ain't happening. Nope, ain't happening. And Leipzig, our former staff, will prepare for us for sure. Leipzig will be tricky. And then Dortmund 5, Celtic 1. Ouch. Yeah, definitely. Dortmund is a fun team too. They stay playing entertaining football. I like Dortmund. And then to round out the month, we have Brighton back to back, which is crazy. Yeah, Timber may actually be in there for White on that game. And then Arsenal, forget we beat them easily in the FA Cup. True. But we round that out at in the EFL Cup, and then we play them right after that at the start of next month. Brighton 2 times in a row, which may be a game that could be tricky for us. If there's any games we drop points in, it could be the Chelsea game, it could be the Brighton game. Those are the only 2 games that I feel like we drop points in, believe it or not. And then right after that, we have Leverkusen and then Aston Villa, if we're going to go that far. But I want to just go like these next 2, 4, 6, 7 games. I think Brighton and Chelsea are really the only two games that we may drop points in. Believe it or not, I'm very confident in this Arsenal game. I am. But let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think of the next run of 7 games? So, and then we'll wrap up here on Off Press because we're coming up on time, about 45 minutes. Off the press, we got Merlin Rowe. If you don't know who this kid is, take some time to figure out who this kid is. He keeps popping up in rumors. Merlin Rowe. I think we will go in for another midfielder. I think Slot's like, okay, this schedule is kind of crazy. I think in January we will get another midfielder, and I think it's going to be Merlin Rowe. I keep seeing him pop up more and more. Apparently, we sent scouts last week and this week to watch this kid play. 6'4", 22 years old, is actually more so of an attacking midfielder, but does have gifts in defense. Can cover all 3 positions, defensive mid, box to box, and a 10. I like him a lot. And then Liverpool tend to struggle on half bottom half teams. That's true. Yep. And that's why I'm worried about that Chelsea and that Brighton game. I think we'll get past Palace though. We don't have very many bottom half teams in the next few weeks. But Fidel said if we don't get more compact and switch on defensively in midfield, we'll struggle versus Chelsea. 100%. If we don't control that midfield and slow the pace down and bring it almost to a standstill and run them around, almost Barca-esque, right? That we can be a little bit under Slot. I think it's going to be a tough day for us at Chelsea. We let them have the ball and we turn it into a shootout. I don't think we win that shootout. I just don't. They have too much attacking firepower. But having Brighton back to back is disgusting. It is, dude. And I hate playing Brighton, bro. They're always such a bogey team for us, dude. And I think we'll have 44, 45 points after 18 games. I think we'd probably be around that area. I do. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Because if we can get to about 40 to 45 points, that puts us in a really good position for a league title. Because, at that rate, you're looking at 88 points, 90 points, which typically wins you the league. We'll see. Man City have already dropped points, right? They're already dropping points, and we're only 6 weeks in, which is a great sign, right? So we'll see what ends up happening. But Merlin Rowe, good player. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Florian Wirtz and Musiala. How true this is, I am going to hold my breath on both of those reports of Wirtz potentially coming to Liverpool and Musiala being interested in the Liverpool switch as well. I think about it and I'm like, where do you really go if you're Musiala, if you're Wirtz? There's Madrid, but it's so crowded there. There's Man City, which should have some openings, but Pep Guardiola leaves. Who knows what the ruling is going to be on Manchester City in terms of the charges and things like that? Will they even be able to make transfers by the time that these players are available? We don't know, right? So I don't know about Wirtz and Musiala. I feel like we're like one of the only destinations really available right now for top players. If you think about it, Madrid, too many players. Barca, they're broke. Chelsea, too many players. Man City, we don't know what's going to happen with their ruling, if they're even going to be able to buy players, right? Man United, they're not in a great position. So where do you go if you're a top player looking for a change? If you're Musiala and you don't want to sign a new contract at Bayern, if you're Wirtz and you're looking for the next step up, what team do you actually go to? And the no-brainer kind of is Liverpool, right? Where else? Can somebody tell me where else a player like Musiala or Wirtz would go after Bayern, after Leverkusen? Maybe Wirtz to Bayern. That makes sense. But where does Musiala go? Right. Musiala was an academy player, and I believe is half British and could have played for England and even has a British accent a little bit, from what I understand. He may want to come back to England. I don't know if it's to Chelsea. There's a lot of players there. There's a lot of people to get past at Chelsea. They're spending a whole ton of money. Are they going to have financial issues in the future? I don't know. But if you're a top player, do you come to Liverpool? Does that make sense? Could FSG have been sandbagging this entire time just to build up enough money to get either Musiala or Wirtz as a Mo Salah replacement? If that is the truth, I will never, ever, ever question FSG ever again. But the likelihood of that happening, I highly doubt. I would let me know who you guys would love to see, right? Would you guys like Musiala? Would you guys like Wirtz? Or would you guys like Xavi Simmons as a Mo Salah replacement? Or Mo Salah's successor? Right? Who would you guys even want to see? I'm going to put that poll up because I feel like those three are really the only ones that really are at that level that we need in order to have like a like for like replacement or a Mo Salah esque type of influence on Liverpool, right? Is it Musiala? Is it Verts? Is it Javi Simmons? Out of the three, I think Javi is he's probably the most realistic out of all of them. Javi Simmons is. But you never know. Musiala could happen as well. I think Alonso takes Verts with him next year to Real Madrid. A total possibility, I think. Mr. Stand-Up Guy, none of them tempt me, sadly. Who would you say? Who would you say would be like, this is a good heir to Mo's throne? Are they already in the squad? Maybe. Is it a Harvey Elliott? Could it be Sabasli if he gets a position change and starts fitting? I don't know. Right? But if you guys have somebody outside of these guys, it looks like a majority of it is Musiala. I love Musiala. Dude, if Musiala signed for Liverpool, I'd probably cry a little bit. But if there's nobody on that list, tell me who you guys think would be a good replacement for Mo. And give me your dream replacement and then give me your realistic replacement in the comments. Right. Racking my brain thinking of a replacement. There aren't very many top talents that's just like, oh yeah, he's special. If we got an opportunity to go after this guy, let's get him. Maybe Mo Kudus? Maybe Mo Kudus? I like Mo Kudus a lot. He hasn't had a phenomenal start to the season, but I think the quality is still there. Versatile. Is he left-footed? I think he's left-footed or ambidextrous. Jamal. Barca would have to be like nearing bankrupt for them to even be selling. Dream replacement would be Vinny Jr. I don't like Vinny, but I would take him. I can see Rodrigo, but I don't know if Rodrigo's good enough. There's something about Rodrigo that I'm just like, I'm still not convinced on Rodrigo for some reason. I don't know why. Trey and Yoni maybe one day. Not a like for like replacement, but definitely could be a talisman for us one day. In the same vein as Mo, for sure. And Rio Namuha, I think he's good too. He needs to learn how to pass though. From what I see, he needs to learn how to pass. He like overcooks the ball, over dribbles way too much. Very talented, such a talent in the dribbling department, but overcooks it. And then, so yeah, it looks like most of us want Musiala. I'd love that. There's some rumors out there, but I have a strong feeling we end up with Javi Simmons for some reason. The Dutch connection, the fact that PSG really don't want him. He keeps going out on loan. Top talent, good defensively, he's a good baller. I like him. West Ham would ask way too much for Kudus. Better value out of the Premier League. True. Somerville is a baller. I liked what I saw with him, actually, believe it or not, when they played us. And we were in on Somerville, and it just never went through. There's a striker in Germany, not German. Surname begins with G. Who is fire? Who is that? Not German. There's a striker in Germany, not German. Surname begins with G, who is fire. Victor Gyökeres. He's not even in Germany, but I like Gyökeres too. Gyökeres is an option as like that talismanic figure that can get a goal for us, be a game changer, influence the entire team. I like Gyökeres a lot. I think a lot of teams are like kind of warded off of him a little bit though, just because the Portuguese league isn't super competitive, but he's performing in the Champions League too, man. I get a 6 and move Gravy to the 10 and Sabo to right wing and pray Cade Gordon stays healthy. I like that. I would maybe move Ryan to the 8. And I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, Fidel. I'd move Ryan to the 8, get a world-class 6, put Maka as a 10, because he says that's his favorite position. And that's his best position. And move Sabo to the right wing, who's done damage for RB as a right-sided winger. I'd love to see that. And bring in Victor Gyökeres. Animal. Bringing Gyökeres with Sabo right wing, Maka as a 10, Ryan Gravenberch as an 8, and then a world-class 6. I don't even know who that would be. Who's available, right? Maybe Warden, right? Maybe Chouameni. I don't know. Chouameni ain't going nowhere. But that'd be really interesting. I think Warden has the ability to play that Ryan role really well. If we were able to bring him in. Kareem Adeyemi, I like him a lot. I think he's just being played out of position. I know I bet he scored today. Right? I think Kareem Adeyemi is a like for like, oh my word. He didn't just score today. He scored a hat trick. Apparently Varela is upping his contract soon, so he's probably out of the question. Yep. And I liked Varela a lot. And I think he fits the system a ton, and he brings the destroying aspect to it. He can be a destroyer, and he can also play that Ryan role that we need. So he's out of the question. I like Javi Guerra. If you know who Javi Guerra is, check him out. Javi Guerra is a baller. I'll put like my little short list in here of like 6s that I think could potentially be world class. Nico Seiwold is good. He's an RB. He's an RB midfielder. Merlin Roll is good, who I think could potentially develop into there. There's that Paul Lermis dude. That's true. Bring Xabi Alonso out of retirement. That's a possibility. Who else would I'd say is could be a potential, a 6 that would work in our system? Adam Warden is one that I really like as well. That's just like a little short list. If you've never heard of some of those names, check those guys out. They're good. They're big. A lot of them are big, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and very skilled on the ball. Yeah. So, and yeah, I like, Javi Guerra is a badass. He was supposed to be going to Tottenham, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Chelsea? I can't remember which move that Javi Guerra was in, and it fell through, or was it? I think it was Juventus. I'm not sure, but he had a move this summer fall through, and I thought we would pounce, and we didn't. Right? But keep an eye out for Javi Guerra. He plays the Ryan Gravenberch position very well. 6'2", great in the air, by the way. Nico Seiwold is one of those guys that was like a rising star that he kind of lost a little bit of light after he got injured. But if you don't know who Nico Seiwold is, he's good too. Very good defensively and amazing passing range. You know Merlin Roll. I've been on about him for the past couple weeks. And Adam Warden. You know Adam Warden, right? Barca U team is in resurgence. That's true. No way Barca sells any of the La Masia youth. Nope. I think they might still want Kamara from Villa or Decore from Palace. But injuries, true. They were good too. Zubamendi is in the mix, but I have a strong feeling that Zubamendi goes to Man City. It's sad, but it's true. And Kareem Adeyemi, I like Adeyemi too. I want to go back to Adeyemi that Dan brought up. Adeyemi is nice. If he can start putting together the goals that he was getting at RB, he's a no-brainer. He's like a like for like Mo Salah replacement, left-footed, insanely pacey. I think he's like the fastest player in the in the Bundesliga right now. Him and Dominic Szoboszlai are best friends, and it just makes a whole ton of sense. And probably we could get him for a good price too. So I like Adeyemi a lot. He just hasn't been firing a whole ton in the past couple seasons, but hopefully this hat trick just spurs him on to do more and produce more numbers this season. But I would love him as a replacement. For me, my picks would be Adeyemi and Musiala as Mo Salah replacements. I like those two a lot. But we'll wrap up stream here. I'm already at an hour. I said I was only going to keep these to 40 minutes, but you guys keep me talking. I saw the Chiesa news and things like that. Chiesa, I heard it's not serious. It's only going to be for just this game, and he'll be back for the weekend, thankfully. He's not proving my prediction of him staying healthy wrong. Don't get on top of me for that. I might be cooked, bruh. We may have got another Arthur. No, I ain't gonna speak that over him. No, he's gonna be okay. Apparently, it's not that serious. Just like a little knock that both him and Jota picked up. But we will see. But appreciate all of you guys. We'll wrap up stream here. This podcast episode will be available shortly after. I'm gonna just upload this one right away. I know I didn't upload the last one to any streaming platforms. So you will get a double episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're streaming from. Keep an eye out for a video as well on this stream. I'm gonna cut some good pieces out of it and put a video together so that if you didn't catch it, you can just catch the highlights and stuff like that. That should be coming out later today. Don't forget, like, comment, share this with any friends that you have. If you guys have any Liverpool friends, family, anything like that, share the podcast with them. We keep growing. You guys have an amazing day. We will see